This video is a film study focus on Kenneth Walker III, the Super Bowl MVP, helping the Seahawks prevail 29-13 against a Patriots defense that came in prepared, I think, to take away certain things, but Clint Kubiak, Sam Darnold, Kenneth Walker, they just had too many options, took control of the game slowly but surely in the first half, and eventually pulled away. I want to get right to the film, and really Kubiak and the offense wasted no time in kind of revealing their hand, who they were going to rely on. We knew that it was going to be Kenneth Walker III, obviously, on the ground. This is outside zone to the two tight end side, so it's 12 personnel. And what the Patriots have done is they've taken their Sam linebacker, who often lines up into the boundary as a 9 technique or edge defender, walked him back in the box. So now they've gone from an under front into the boundary to a 4-3 over front set to the field. Outside zone path, and the Patriots, I think, had this one correct, very similar to some stuff that the 49ers did in the divisional round. They're rolling or rotating the safeties, so the safety's rotating back. The field side safety is spinning down. It doesn't matter. They do a great job of picking this up. It's Cooper Kupp, of course, who's a guy that's been blocked well all year and throughout his career. In this case, he goes to get the field side safety spinning down, and that allows Kenneth Walker III to get the edge. In addition, it has to be mentioned that A.J. Barner, Saubert, all of the tight ends, I thought, did an excellent job of blocking, whether it was on the edge, split zone concepts, or just part of combos. This is the first snap of the game, and you give the Patriots an idea of what they're going to have to deal with if they're going to try to take away JSN, if they're going to stay in a too-high safety look, at least pre-snap, and then rotate from it. Cooper Kupp picked this one up brilliantly, paved the way for a 10-yard gain on the first snap. We're going to skip around here and really just focus on the plays where Kenneth Walker III is getting the football. So we're into the second quarter here. It's a 3-0 game at this point. And what they've done is they've used JSN as significant bait here, drawing Christian Gonzalez with him. So that vacates the boundary side corner position. There is a boundary side safety down there, but because Christian Gonzalez is lined up over JSN, what they've done is, or what Clint Kubiak's going to do, he's going to exploit that area of the field. I'm talking about the boundary side outside the tackle. It's a sweep path by Kenneth Walker III. The scheme is pretty cool, how they get this accomplished. Essentially, you're talking about a pin down by the left tackle, Charles Cross, then the left guard pulling out to the edge defender. It's really what some people call a down scheme in an old school wing T, but it's a down sweep path. And in this case, Kenneth Walker III bounces it outside that kick out block. Normally on a down concept, it's designed to go underneath here, but here you've got a defensive tackle. I think it's Christian Barmore, totally unblocked, to leave pressure, to give pressure on Kenneth Walker as he makes that read. I'll give you the end zone angle. This is the free safety who was in the middle of the field. He's the only guy to beat, really, if Jake Bobo is able to get any piece of this nickel defender on the backside to the field. Once Kenneth Walker III breaks the tackle of this free safety up the left sideline, really could have been over at this point. Multiple opportunities, I think, for big plays. It's a gain of 30 yards. When I say big plays, I mean chances for Seattle to score in one snap. Same play from the end zone angle. So here's JSN, followed or shadowed by Christian Gonzalez, lined up to the field. This is just an example, I think, of Kubiak and the offensive staff understanding what the Patriots were trying to do and then using their tactics against them. It's a sweep path, down kick, so that the outside tight end and Charles Cross are going to down block. The left guard is going to pull and then kick out the edge defender, and Walker ends up bouncing it. In addition, there is a fantastic job here by Sundell, the center. Now, unfortunately, the last play that I'll show you here will be, the penalty that negates like a 47-yard touchdown run by Walker that really would have put a cap on things. But this is a great job that kind of illustrates his agility, meaning Sundell. Bradford is unfortunately unable to get a piece of Christian Barmore initially, and that allows Barmore to kind of get in the path or the vision of Kenneth Walker. I suspect that's why he's not taking this, off tackle, which is technically where a down scheme is supposed to go. Bounces it outside, and because Christian Gonzalez shadowed or went with JSN, you see no force defender out here at all. Walker, I thought, was brilliant on these, slight stiff arms or evasive maneuvers to just get away from defenders. And in this case, it was Milton Williams, the defensive tackle, spectacular player for the Patriots, don't get me wrong, but he certainly left some tackles out on the field, whether it was Kenneth Walker or Sam Darnold. All right, we're still on to that fourth possession. Another big gain here by Kenneth Walker. This is going to be what I would call zone kick, but it's going to go opposite. It's a 12 personnel group. Been one of Kubiak's favorites in Seattle. I'm sure that he's going to recreate it in Las Vegas. When I say 12 personnel, it's ace under center. So it's a 2-by-2 formation. One tight end, one receiver to the left, one tight end, one receiver to the right. If you're new to my content, you might enjoy some examination of that formation. I think I've done 2 or 3 different videos on it over the course of the 2025 season. So the way this is going to work is the downside tight end is going to release up to the frontside inside linebacker. I think it's 53. And then the tight end who's going to go in motion is going to kick out this edge defender. But it's opposite as far as the zone. So Walker's steps are opposite of the path of the tight end. In addition, the zone work by the offensive line is in the other directions, hence the name zone kick. I think you've got a great job by these guys in here of peeling off these 2 defensive tackles. Well, I should say a great job by Kenneth Walker of forcing them to kind of hedge to the downside of our screen, meaning, stay on this side of the potential blocker. And that's because of the path that Kenneth Walker takes. And then he veers this back to the top side, basically follows Bradford's block up here to the top. In addition, the receiver is going to get the safety, leaving the outside corner unblocked. Those guys were really uninvolved. The field side or boundary side corner, I'm talking about the depth that Christian Gonzalez gets here. Just got a great play call, in my opinion. A great job of Kenneth Walker hedging to one side, the bottom side of our screen, or his left, and holding those defensive tackles to their leverage side, and then bringing this back on the other side of the blockers. In this case, I think it is Sundell and Charles Cross. Just a variety of runs that Walker was able to execute. Many of them, rely on his burst, very sharp cuts, obviously, and also his vision. I think it's been a brilliant run at the end of the year for the Patriots to pick their poison, kind of try to limit JSN as much as possible, and then get really scalded by the run. Kind of leaves, even though they did play well defensively, and everyone's given them credit, myself included, in my reaction video Sunday night, I think they kind of left a little bit out there as far as the depth of their game plan in trying to stop all aspects of the Seattle offense. We're still into the second quarter of what was, obviously a slow offensive start for Seattle, but the defense is totally dominated. It's now 6-0 here. It's a 1st and 10 on the 5th possession. Not many running backs are able to do this. Talking about basically abort their intended path and then just bounce it outside. It's another 12 personnel group, but the difference with this formation is both tight ends on the same side. It was pretty cool to see Arroyo assigned in the blocking scheme so often. So for this play, it's going to be basically a split zone concept, kind of similar to the play that I just showed, where you've got a motion to one side. In this case, it's a receiver. Recall on the previous play, it was a tight end. And now Walker is going to work behind the kickout block of Arroyo. So it's a zone concept, zone to the Seahawks left or the bottom side of our screen. And then Arroyo is going to try to kick out this edge defender or defensive end. 3-4 structure for the Patriots. You do have 2 wins here at the point of attack for New England. 93 against Charles Cross. Immediately able to shed this block, number 1. Number 2, the inside linebacker 51 getting through here. This combo isn't able to peel off quick enough to deal with him. So Walker recognizes that and aborts mission immediately. And instead of going underneath the kickout block by Arroyo, which, isn't a great block attempt here, to be honest with you, he now bounces it to the outside. And once again, the corner to that side, really peeling off and getting a ton of depth. It's Christian Gonzalez dealing with JSN, or lined up over JSN. JSN goes to get this safety initially, realizes that guy is too far to the inside, so he moves up to the next safety here, and gives Kenneth Walker III an opportunity to pick up 9 yards, where really you can't quantify this. That could have been a TFL by the inside linebacker or the defensive end, 93, who beat Charles Cross. His cut ability kind of allows him to be a little bit more patient because he can scan and then put his foot in the ground. Okay, the path is blocked. Put his foot in the ground. Boom. Move out of there and make something out of nothing. We're still on that 5th possession. This drive is actually going to end in a punt, but I've got a couple more plays to show here. It's a 3rd and 2. Really nice job of Sam Darnold working to Kenneth Walker in the pass progression. So, in addition, Shaheed is going to be wide open. I'm talking about from the top of the screen. If there's any time here whatsoever, Shaheed is open and available for a big play. So the motion across is by Barner. Snag flat concept. So the snag route by JSN, the flat concept by Barner, and that's where Sam Darnold is going to look initially. Chooses not to take it for whatever reason. Perhaps he sees this safety moving across. They actually pass this off in the corner, deals with Barner's route, and the safety deals with this route by JSN. Real problem or issue, I think, at right guard that's, got to be addressed at some point. It's not the time to necessarily delve into that. But Milton Williams making quick work of Bradford, and then Darnold just escapes one more time. If you had time here for Sam Darnold, if you had time here, then the play is going to be Shaheed up top. Because Cooper Kupp's route is occupying this safety, I think is the nickel dropping back, with the corner staying in the flats, opportunity for a big play. I really feel like after watching mostly the offensive film with some of the defense that if these teams were to rematch next week, the differential probably does nothing but expand. There's plays out there on the field. Darnold was able to escape pressure multiple times. This is one of them. Same play. Like I said, it's on the 5th possession. It's a 3rd and 2. Motion across by Barner is going to pull this safety. He doesn't play man. Him and Christian Gonzalez switch this off or pass these routes off, but the nickel DB gets depth, and he deals with Cooper Kupp's route. I feel like this is one they could have come back to. Basically, the idea for me would be Marcus Jones, a heck of a football player. He's had a great year. He's an all-pro, but he's not a too-high safety structure guy consistently. In my opinion, he's a dedicated nickel, and I would have liked to have seen him in these too-high structure looks. But in any case, Milton Williams getting the win against Bradford. Darnold going to come back and get the ball to Walker quickly. He's very calm in this game, despite taking some shots. I'm talking about Sam Darnold. He's taking a number of shots here. In this case, gets the ball out, converts this 3rd and 2. Like I said, they end up punting on this possession anyway. As harsh as I was in my reaction video on Darnold for some of the throws, he certainly was under pressure, like that play there, and handled it well. Finding later developing routes once JSN or other guys were closed off. Cooper Kupp converted a couple of 3rd downs. Barner had a big catch, obviously the touchdown that I'll show you a little bit later that works off play action. And we'll give you one more 3rd down from that same 5th possession here. Unfortunately, this one ends up being, I guess you'd have to call it a drop by Kenneth Walker. It's really nice manipulation, if you ask me, by Seattle's offense. So it's a 3rd and 5 again on that 5th possession. And the Seahawks defense, total control in this first half, right? Held them to 51 yards on 22 plays, so, less than 2.5 yards per play. JSN is going to be open here, right, against Christian Gonzalez. It's not like Christian Gonzalez just wiped the dude out and just totally, blanketed him the whole game. That's not the case. But I think Darnold sees the inside linebacker peeling out here once Kenneth Walker goes in motion, and I think he recognizes that the nickel DB is possibly on a blitz. So that route to Kenneth Walker should theoretically be wide open. Darnold, to me, maybe seemed a split second late in some of these releases last night. So I'm talking about him IDing this blitz by the nickel right now. You can see his best receiver, best player is up here on a little in cut. He will break open right here underneath to possibly convert this. Darnold's made the right decision, however, in my opinion. He knows he's got a pick or a screen down here at the bottom side from Cooper Kupp, getting the ball to Kenneth Walker. One of the few missed opportunities for Walker. I really feel like, if that final touchdown was to count, the touchdown run, where there's the hold on Sundell, and he, makes this catch as well as a couple of other plays, you could be talking about a historic, performance from a total offensive yards standpoint. I think Kubiak should get, a little bit more credit for some of the manipulation and the way that he went after the Patriots defense once he recognized what they were doing to try to, take away or limit JSN. So this is 7th possession. We're still into the second quarter, late second quarter, in fact. Really nice design. Got a too-high safety structure from the Patriots initially. And then he's going to use JSN to basically draw attention away from Kenneth Walker. JSN essentially running a wheel. But what I really love about the design is Arroyo's route here. So he's running this route from the top side, and I think he's going to go block this boundary side safety who's going to roll back to center field. They're basically rotating or spinning the safeties to JSN consistently. The added layer here, in my opinion, that makes this a whole lot of fun to talk about is the tight end running his route and basically getting a 2-for-1. You can see the safety structure. We're talking about these two players here, the way that they move or rotate to JSN. 21 is the high safety initially. He's actually going to deal with this route by JSN. 31, I think is Woodson, is going to back off and go to the middle of the field. In addition, another thing that makes this a brilliant play call and design, if you ask me, is you've got a release by Derek Young at the bottom of the screen that forces a man turn from Christian Gonzalez. As much credit as Gonzalez gets for playing well, and he certainly did, Kubiak and the guys on the offensive side definitely figured out ways to manipulate the coverages that the Patriots were playing. It's just sometimes it didn't involve, JSN, Cooper Kupp, or Rashid Shaheed. Great job by Sundell of getting out to the boundary side inside linebacker. We're talking about the boundary side inside linebacker right there, matched up over Kenneth Walker. So, really you got man structure across the board and a middle of the field free safety, middle of the field inside linebacker, and Seattle knew it. Great manipulation, great play call using JSN's gravity, number one. In addition, the route, I can't, that's the one that really pushes this over the top for me is the man release here vertically by Derek Young, but I really can't draw it perfectly. He's releasing to the outside, forcing a man turn, which is counterclockwise or basically taking his chest or face mask to the sideline. Christian Gonzalez ended up with his back turned to the offense. And then this route by, I think it's Arroyo, moving him to go get the middle of the field free safety. Patriots are really fortunate, if you ask me, that this one didn't go, for bigger. Again, hearkening back to some of the missed passes by Darnold or opportunities to maybe, push things even further down the field. I think Seattle could have very easily popped off 2 or 3 40, 50-yard touchdowns in this game. The too high safety rotation is something it seemed like Clint Kubiak really had a beat on. Just a really great play there for a lot of reasons, if you ask me. Getting the ball to a playmaker like Kenneth Walker, but also finding space to allow him to access once he catches the football. Moved into the fourth quarter here. Seahawks are up 12-0, and Kenneth Walker III is not on the field. Okay, it's Halani, who actually made 2 really nice plays earlier on this drive, I believe. So it's a 12 personnel grouping. Ace under center, so 1 tight end to the right, 1 tight end to the left. Differential width here with Cooper Kupp, and I think that's because of the design of the play. So they're going to motion Barner across. This is the 5-3 look by the Patriots that I kind of previewed a little bit last week leading up to this game. But from a coverage standpoint, you got man on the outside with the outside corners. Safety rolled up to the field will be man on Saubert. Pre-motion, man by Spillane on the tight end. But that changes once you get motion. It almost kind of becomes a 3-by-1. So this middle of the field free safety really does nothing. And what I mean is, he's not moving to that side at all to possibly be able to take over this route by Cooper Kupp and or communicate things to, I think that's CD3 set up to the field. In addition, the wider path by Halani just kind of elongates the conflict, meaning you don't know as a defender whether it's run or pass. It's less of a downhill angle and more horizontal or lateral, and that's intentional. It's to elongate or lengthen the amount of time when the football is out there and the defenders, particularly second-level defenders, don't know whether the ball's been handed off or whether Darnold has kept it. Really great design. Barner just kind of runs by the inside linebacker that's responsible for him. Let's kind of track that guy backwards. I'm sure at this point, many people have talked about it, but pre-motion, Barner is over here, and this linebacker is not responsible for him. If it's truly man-free from a 5-1 look, 5-3 look, then these 3 defenders, the 2 OLBs and the Mike, in some combination would be responsible for the running back. If the running back was to peel here, oftentimes the OLB would take him. Conversely, or the mirror image of that, if the running back was to peel here, this outside linebacker may take him. I don't know that that's the way that they're reading it, but it doesn't matter because Barner motions all the way across, and it changes the coverage structure. Now 51 is responsible for Barner. I wish that Seattle had exploited this stuff a little bit better, more efficiently, and in fact, I wish Darnold had been able to hit on some of the other passes where there was a little bit less space for him to access. Really great design, if you ask me. The only problem is that Barner and Kupp almost run into each other and ruin the whole damn thing. Here's Spillane, who was the backside inside linebacker, originally responsible for the tight end pre-motion. 51, turning his back to try to get back there. It's too late. Easy throw for Darnold. This is what Kubiak's been doing all year. Attacking with the pass out of 12 personnel. It's now 19-0. The game is really, for all intents and purposes, here. I thought this was a great play call. Even though Walker's not on the field, that's why I wanted to include it for you guys to check out. Let's do the same play from the end zone angle, maybe a little bit of overkill. Like I said, it's a 1st and 10. The motion is going to change the coverage. Originally, Spillane is responsible for Barner, and this safety is responsible for Saubert over here. Post-snap, the way that it works from a blocking scheme standpoint, looks very similar to the zone kick that I talked about earlier. The only difference is this tight end released up to the front side inside linebacker, and Barner would motion and kick out the defensive end. So it's a little bit inverted there, but it's happening really quickly, number one. Number two, I think the Patriots were very aggressive at trying to come downhill sometimes, and they're kind of revealing their intentions with this 5-3 look. Basically, they're letting you know, okay, we're trying to stop the run here, even though Oline is on the field. And again, you've got that horizontal or lateral path by Oline, and that's just designed to elongate the amount of time by which the defenders, the second-level defenders in particular, don't know if the football's been handed off or not. You can see that Barner and Kupp are pretty close to one another. I think Barner actually had to kind of try to dodge Kupp a little bit. In addition, he has to dodge 51 or slip by him, and that's what triggers or makes 51 realize, oh, I've got him in man-to-man. I can't do this, but it's too late, too much space. Darnold wasn't sharp, I think, at times throwing the football, had the ball located on the wrong side, but he's not going to miss this one. Too easy, over the top, 19-0, like I said. It's a really simple concept. To be honest with you, I've seen people on social media talk about the design of this one. This one's not overly complicated, in my opinion. Credit to Kubiak and the Seahawks offense for executing it, recognizing that the opportunity for it was there, but I don't think the design aspect is really something that deserves too much praise. There did come a time in the second half where I think Kubiak and Mike McDonald obviously recognized, okay, we're going to win this football game as long as we won't turn the football over. And so keeping the ball in Kenneth Walker's hands allows us to get positive yardage, create hopefully manageable third downs at minimum, or as our floor, and then possibly Kenneth Walker could pop one and really finish this thing off, which he did, but unfortunately got called back. We're not there yet. This is the fourth quarter. It's still only 19-7. They are going to get a field goal on this drive. It's a 13 personnel group. I love this play concept, and Kubiak's used it a ton this year with different iterations or different presentations from a formation standpoint. Look, this is a 6-2 front by the Patriots. They do have two inside linebackers on, but they've walked a safety up to create the 6-2 look. So the way that they're getting this accomplished, they do have technically two safeties on the field, but you cannot, absolutely cannot, if you're a 6'2 defensive end or OLB, you just can't get reached. It just can't happen. And Saubert reaches 51. Barner reaches the defensive end / defensive tackle, and it's pretty much over. I mean, Lucas is out there in front, does a great job of getting himself kind of square to deal with Spillane. Arroyo is going up to CD3. This is another one. I think that the Patriots are fortunate that A, Seattle didn't go too earlier, and B, didn't possibly take this one to the house. They're just better up front. The Seahawks blocking, which is crazy, I know, for Seattle fans, for how poor the offensive line was last year in 2024. That changed quickly. You could see it in the preseason. I still remember doing a video of the first possession, I believe, against the Chiefs, where the starting offense is on the field, minus a couple of guys. And you can just see the quality of the blocking scheme, the way that guys are getting things done. Everybody in the NFL uses this concept, pin, pull, toss. But everybody doesn't have two tight ends who can immediately go reach starting caliber, outside linebacker, inside linebacker, defensive end type guys. And in this case, that's what they got accomplished. It's a really cool play. Like I said, Saubert is still on top of 51, taking him out of there, clearing the lane for Kenneth Walker. We're still on that same drive. Like I said, Seattle's going to go down and make this 22-7. I think this is following the strip sack I think this is followed up by the touchdown from Witherspoon and Uchenna Nwosu to make it 29-7. But in any case, this is a really patient downhill run by Kenneth Walker. Again, it's only 19-7. They're going to push it to 22-7 here. It's a 3-4 structure from the Patriots. They're trying to find something that works. They're still getting gashed at times, kind of regardless of the front, but you can see what I'm talking about. Base 3-4 look, roll to safety up to the side where there's 2 receivers. In this case, it's Cooper Kupp. 12 personnel group, 2 tight ends down to the bottom side, Barner and Saubert. This is a great job by the 2 former college teammates, Zabel and Sundell. They combo up to the inside linebacker, and it's what allows Walker to really kind of dance here a little bit, almost kind of Le'Veon Bell-ish, if you will, and then choose the lane to go to because Sundell peeled off to the inside linebacker 51. Spillane ends up getting picked or pinned underneath of this work here by Zabel. Sundell recognizes who he's got to go to, and you can see where Kenneth Walker is going to take this. As another one, I think, once he pops through here, you're looking at it like this is an opportunity for him to take it to the house. There's so many plays, I think, that Kubiak and Darnold probably looked at today, where they feel like they could go back to those concepts if there was a rematch 7 days later. And what's, I think, most interesting for me is the number of run concepts that they used, and so many of them were successful. Downhill, patient runs like this one, kind of duo-esque. Pin, pull, toss, the previous one, that I just showed you. Outside zone to lead off the game, the 12 personnel group. Oftentimes these are very simple and almost kind of direct. The offensive line, the tight ends, they're just winning their matchups at the point of attack and giving Kenneth Walker an opportunity to get things done. Let's do one more. Let's look at the touchdown that doesn't count, and it's a legitimate hold on Sundell, if you ask me. This one, I believe, would have pushed it to 36-13. That would really be more in line with the game flow, in my opinion, with the quality of play that Seattle demonstrated. This is a cool personnel group. It's 3rd and 13, so they're telling you what's coming. It's a jumbo 14 personnel group. So you've got a backup offensive lineman here, and then 2 legitimate tight ends in Barner and Saubert. So 14 personnel group. You know who's getting the football. It's Kenneth Walker on a 3rd and 13. So really nice job here, in my opinion, by Gray Zabel. And he's dealing with this defensive tackle. It's also a missed opportunity for Saubert. He's gonna motion down here. It almost becomes kind of wham trap-ish. So he could possibly work to this defensive tackle and help out Sundell. Now, that's not actually the way that this works out. This defensive tackle steps away, and Spillane steps downhill. My suspicion is that Saubert is tasked with either going to get Spillane, or he recognizes that Sundell's on him and he's trying to move up to the backside guy. I kind of wish that he had just stayed in to help Sundell, because if he does help here, Sundell doesn't need to hold because Spillane's not going to be able to peel off to that side. It's pretty obviously a hold, if you ask me, on Sundell, which is unfortunate because I think he had 3 exceptional blocks earlier in the game, number 1. Number 2, this was just a capper, right, for Kenneth Walker. This, I think, would have put him up over like 180 rushing yards on the ground and the touchdown. You can see that Gray Zabel, I think, is starting to realize it, or he already has. I have no idea what Kenneth Walker is signaling or gesticulating about, but missed opportunity, in my opinion, for Sundell to really allow Kenneth Walker to put a cap on this thing for the Seahawks. I think the point had already been made earlier in the game, the drive, 4th or perhaps 5th possession when Walker rips off a 30-yard run and then also a 29-yard run on the same possession, that there were going to be opportunities for him to make plays. There was going to be chances that the Patriots took and they got punished on. In this case, for most of the night, it was Kenneth Walker III, 27 carries. I think he finished with 135. Again, that last touchdown would have put him over 180 and made it, quite obvious who should have been the MVP. Darnold, not his best game from a statistical standpoint, nor from accuracy perspective, where the football needed to be located as well as the pace. Yeah, I think that if they faced this team again next week, you would expect Sam Darnold to play better. That's what he's done throughout the entirety of 2025, minus a couple of games. He had the 4-interception game against the Rams. Other than that, he's been spectacular statistically. I know that it sounds like I'm probably being disrespectful towards New England. I spent a lot of time studying their defense. I think they were a worthy challenger, and they showed that, in the first half. Only being down 9-0. Eventually, it became 12-0 at the end of 3 quarters. I think there was a lot left out there on the field from a Sam Darnold perspective. Fortunately, the offensive line, the tight ends, even the wide receivers, guys like Cooper Kupp, blocked exceptionally, and Clint Kubiak figured out ways to use the Patriots' defensive structure against them. I can't stress it enough. I feel like the way that the Patriots were playing their corners to the outside oftentimes forced them to get depth because they were assigned in man coverage, and basically the Seahawks were just getting a 2-for-1. The outside receiver going to block the safety, and the corner who was matching or guarding the outside receiver in man basically cleared out a ton of space. I think in a rematch that they would have to look at, some type of differential coverage schemes, and maybe their outside corners, recognizing things a little bit sooner. Kenneth Walker took advantage. Awesome moment. Who knows what's going to happen for him for next year? Unrestricted free agent. Guy made a lot of money in the Super Bowl, as well as some other guys for Seattle on the defensive side of the ball. If you guys enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section, number 1. Number 2, if you think other Seahawks fans would like to hear, my thoughts on how Kenneth Walker, Clint Kubiak, the offensive line and tight ends were able to get this accomplished, as well as the plays that I used to illustrate and make my points, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.